Hello and welcome to Veritas Populi. We at Veritas Populi like to talk about freedom and the truth. Today we're talking to some folks that represent freedom of choice in motorcycle riding. We have three special guests today here in Veritas Populi at the studio. We have Robert Forbus, who's the interim state director of CMT Abate. We also have Carol Simpson, the administrative assistant of CMT Abate, and we also have Dawn Gregory, an avid motorcycle rider. Welcome to the show, y'all.
Thank you,
John.
Dan.
We appreciate being here.
When we talk about freedom of choice in motorcycle riding, we look at freedom in just the general public and freedom of choice and a lot of different things. When we talk about freedom of choice in motorcycle riding, mainly we're talking about the choice of adults to be able to ride and use a helmet or not use a helmet. Now, that idea to some people is just sort of crazy. People think, well, why would you not want to ride a helmet or use a helmet? But to those of us that believe in liberty and freedom, when I first heard of this, I thought, well, of course a person ought to have that ability to make their own choice, to do what they want to. It's, you know, we hear people all the time saying, this is my body, I can choose what I want to with it, although in most contexts it's not a person's body, but when you're riding a motorcycle, it is your body. Now, if you've got a child on that motorcycle, it's not their body, but if you're on the motorcycle, it is your body. So tell me a little bit about the, I guess, the battle that you've been fighting for years and years with this. When did it start, and a little bit about the history about this.
The helmet laws came about through federal mandates. In 1967, they passed a federal mandate that they would rebuke the states from getting state highway money, just actually take it away if they didn't pass helmet laws. And at that time, all but 3 states passed helmet laws. So it was a federal mandate. It negated states' rights, another freedom issue.
Oh, now that's something that's pretty close to us here at Veritas Populi. The federal government, they know they don't have a right to pass a federal law, but just like HOV lanes and all the other thing that they do, what they do is they say, we know we can't make you do this, but what we'll do is we'll pull your money if you don't do this. So
Correct.
That's what they did with the helmet laws.
In 67.
And then all the states said, well, okay, we'll
all
do it.
except 3, they didn't
Okay.
care. And they were freedom loving. And now
What states were those?
Iowa, Illinois, and Colorado.
Illinois is a
Yes.
freedom-loving state?
And back then it
Wow.
Believe it or
Right.
not.
Okay.
And had activists.
Uh-huh.
See, in the northern states, in the mid-states, where people are unionized, they're more used to joining and working together. Whereas here in our southern states, we believe in, not on my 5 acres, by God, but we're riding on the highway, so we
Okay.
unite. But they repealed that one. 12 sturdy people, fighters, just folks like us, went to and testified, and they repealed that one. So then it's the pendulum swung again, and I think it was 28 states had freedom of choice maybe at that time. And then in the 90s, the late 80s, early 90s, they put a different federal mandate on. It was, they didn't take the money away because they found out they couldn't take the money away, but they said we're shifting safety money to something else.
Okay.
And you're going to lose 10% of your safety money. So, but only one state, Maryland, fell to that craziness. And so now we've repealed that second mandate in 1995, and now it's back to the states. And since then, how many states have regained freedom of choice?
3 states have attained freedom of choice since that time.
Okay.
So we have 31 free states for either all, 3 states is everybody. New Hampshire, Illinois, and Ohio. It doesn't matter if you're a kid or not. The rest of them, 28, is some kind of adult age, 18 or 21.
Okay. Now, Robert, you ride,
I do, sir.
and Carol, you ride.
I do.
You ride a motorcycle yourself.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And Dawn, you ride with your husband, right? Do you ride a
Mostly as
motorcycle yourself?
passenger and
Okay. Mostly. Do you ride by yourself? Or
no,
mostly as a
sir,
passenger?
Never.
Okay. Okay. So we've got a mix here of people that ride. There are states around Tennessee that have freedom of choice, right?
That's correct.
what are some of the states around Tennessee?
There's Arkansas and there's Kentucky.
Okay.
And,
I do a lot of work in Kentucky, and I drive in Kentucky, and I'm just amazed that you go across the state line, and there are people up there, and I don't see a lot of people. You know, Kentucky people might be not as smart as people, but it's not because they're head injury. I say that because I'm from Kentucky.
South Carolina, too.
Okay. And so there are people up there riding all the time, and they don't wear helmets. And so it's interesting to me that someone that's riding from Arkansas across I-40, they have to bring a helmet with them, and then when they go up into Kentucky, they can take their helmet off.
That's correct.
Okay. So there are states. We've got a graphic, if we can put that up, that shows the states. I'm asking our technical folks to really, go a little extra step here, see if we can get that. There it is. That's great. We've got a graphic up here that shows the states that have, and there are a lot of states out west that have freedom. The white states are the ones that have freedom of choice, and then the blue states are ones that don't. So I think you all have pointed out to me that people that are traveling from the Midwest and the North that are traveling to Florida. Florida is a state that has the freedom of choice.
That's right.
So if someone's traveling from Indiana, Illinois, Kentucky, and going to Florida, they have to carry their helmet, put it on in Tennessee, and Georgia,
Georgia.
and then take it off when they get to Florida.
That went part of our table.
Don't cut.
Scared me.
We're going to continue on. We just lost part of our table. Maybe we can have somebody crawl in here and put our table back together. That's part of having a community access television program. So people have to put a helmet on and then go on to Florida. So all of those people that go to Daytona Beach and all of those assemblies where
Right.
people get together, they have to bring a helmet with them to
get
ride
there.
through Tennessee and Georgia.
And actually, when you're talking about freedom of choice, they may choose to wear a helmet in Illinois. See, we're not telling anybody they can't.
That's a good
wear
point.
a helmet.
That's one of the things that I want our listeners, our viewers to see, to understand that no one is saying that someone doesn't have to wear. If there are people in Kentucky that wear a helmet 100% of the time, right?
Absolutely.
That's their choice.
Sure.
You know,
And like
they-
Dawn, her favorite helmet is the last one over here, but it is not, doesn't meet standards. But she
Okay.
feels safe in it, and it's in a piece of apparel, so she always wants to wear her helmet.
Okay.
But
Well,
that's her
let's
helmet.
look at some of the helmets that we've brought here. We've got different kinds of helmets, and for those that don't ride, or for some of the folks who do ride, you've taught me some things that I didn't realize. I thought everyone had to have a special type of helmet, but there are different kinds of helmets that you're allowed to ride, or that you're allowed to wear and ride with. So show me some of the different helmets.
Well, these are vented helmets.
Interesting. I didn't realize this.
And they do
maybe
not-
some of our viewers don't realize
And
this.
they do not have a DOT sticker.
Okay, so this says Bell.
This is
That's
a
a
Bell
brand
helmet.
name.
Yes, but inside the sticker is a sticker that has it's approved by the CPSC standards.
Okay, and I thought these helmets were just made only for skaters and skateboarders and bicycle riders, but these are legal to ride a motorcycle with.
Yes, and we're the only state in the union that allows these. And
Okay.
Johan, hold on to that. And Johan, hold on.
This is my helmet.
This is Dan's helmet. Tell me the weight difference.
Considerable. I would say 3 times the weight of this.
This is a very heavy. Yeah, very
So-
heavy helmet.
So this solves most of my problems. This is my helmet. It's got vented, so when it's hot, it prevents me from overheating, and it's lightweight. This, I'm sorry, Dan, but I'd never wear it.
I couldn't
Well,
either.
good.
No.
Good, because it's my
Because
helmet.
it's your helmet. That's
This
your
helmet,
choice.
This
That's your
helmet,
choice.
you can put Bluetooth in it because I'm a techie guy. You put
Ah.
Bluetooth, I can listen, I
Right.
can hear, and I can listen to Fox News all the time when I have my
Okay.
helmet. Flips up, front flips up, so when I stop at a stoplight, I can flip it up. It's got all sorts
Oh,
of
wow.
gadgets and gizmos.
And I'm going to tell you this because you're going to wear your helmet and it's your choice. But see, we do this little test for the legislators sometimes. Okay, you take a pencil, you go like this. Okay, you can feel how that kind of flows. And then this is a cheapy little rubber thing, but the other ones are kind of heavy. So you can see the difference in the centrifugal force. So when you fall off your helmet wearing this, you're going to hit with a much higher impact than I am with this.
Yeah. Well, my brain is already heavier than most people
And
anyway.
your brains are already scrambled, is that correct?
So,
Pre-scrambled.
yeah.
But Johan can tell you about like what this does about the this piece of apparel, what it can do.
This piece of apparel is designed to prevent skull fractures, not brain injuries, because when the head ceases to move, strikes an object, the brain keeps moving. And helmet or no helmet, the brain will collide with the skull inside, and there will be brain injury. These things are built to a standard 13.6 miles per hour impact is what a helmet's designed to take. And most people I know who ride motorcycles seldom ride at that speed. Its function is really not much more than a piece of apparel. And you see the different helmets here. If a helmet was a true safety device, you would think you'd see one or two, maybe two different colors. But as you can see, there are a myriad of styles, colors, types. Personally, I wear a helmet because I'm required to in the state of Tennessee. When I'm traveling through a state where I do have the freedom of choice, sometimes I wear one, sometimes I don't. What's the weather doing? How do I feel? Do I want to trouble myself at the stop to take it off or put it back on? You know, I like to have that choice left up to me. But I will tell you about helmets. The shorter helmets typically don't interfere with what I can see, smell, hear, and sense. The full face helmets, if I have one, I own one for very bad weather. I place it on my head. I can't feel the wind pressure differences. I can't hear things to understand exactly where they are. I can't feel things, and I can't quickly smell things like brakes becoming hot on a vehicle far up the road ahead of me, where I have a sense something wrong is happening. I have a delay in what I can receive that information. I also am the rest of the world is away from me. So far, I can't sense what's going on. I can hear the machine hum. I can't really hear the road. I can't tell little things that guide me to safely ride a motorcycle.
To me, defeats the purpose of riding.
I am so isolated. I might as well be in a simulator somewhere. That's how I feel when I wear a full-face helmet on a motorcycle.
I was doing some research for the show, and I'm all about the truth. I want to know what the truth is. That's why I wanted to have you all on here. And I read some articles. My background is medical. I'm a registered nurse, and you know the medical folks are all, you know, about not riding motorcycles to begin with, and I ride one. Guys, if you want to put a picture of my girly bike that I ride a scooter. When I tell people I ride a scooter,
It's two wheels, Dan. It's quite all right.
Yeah, they think it's a little girl bike, but it's not. It's there's a picture of my scooter. It's a 650. It'll do over 100. It's a manly bike, but it's an old man bike because you step through. It doesn't have gear. You know, it doesn't have a clutch. It's an automatic. But I do ride and I enjoy riding. When you ride, it's as you said, when you're enclosed in the helmet. I did some research and I read an article where it said that it's a myth that when you have a helmet on, you can't hear and you can't see as well. Well, when I read that article, I just said, well, I don't know who did this study,
Right.
but that's just false.
Yeah.
Because I wear this helmet all the time, and I know for a fact that when I put this on and I'm looking through this hole, I cannot see to my right and to my left. And I have to turn my head, and I don't have the peripheral vision. Now, you might argue that it makes you safer in a crash. I don't know. I think it probably does. But to say that it doesn't make my vision or my hearing less, that's just false. So then it makes me think that whoever's writing this article, you know, I wonder if he's got, you know, he's got
Been
an agenda.
influenced.
Yeah.
you know, because that's just not true.
And you're talking about your vocation and also the medical industry. My son had an accident last April, and he had my granddaughter on the back, so he didn't feel comfortable bailing. It was not his fault. A car pulled right in front of him and stopped because it couldn't get through the median. There were other cars, and he hit it straight on. He had a full face helmet. It was even heavier than this. It was old. And he survived. He had cracked vertebrae. He had to go in and have surgery, plates, screws, and stuff like that, a lot of other injuries. But he survived, and he's back to work, and I'm very blessed. He's 40 years old, and he's a wonderful, experienced rider. But about 8 weeks later, I went to see my internal doctor, and she actually came in instead of sending a resident, and I was amazed. And she said, I came because I was the attending doctor when your son had his accident. And at a very well-known hospital, which we won't mention, but that hospital constantly testifies against us at the legislature. But she said, do you know why he had the cracked vertebrae? And I said, no, why? She said, that heavy full-face helmet caused the whiplash, worse whiplash. I don't want him to have the accident again.
Yeah.
I don't want any of us to have an accident, period. But we can't ever have the same accident again.
Yeah.
So I feel very blessed that he survived and that he had a choice of what he wanted to wear that day.
Yeah. Well, and we want to be sure people understand that what we're saying and what you're saying is that choice, freedom of choice. And no one's saying that helmets cause accidents, that they don't save lives, that they're not, but it's like the seatbelt argument. Do seatbelts prevent wrecks, prevent injury? Probably, yes, they do. I had a physician that talked at a trauma seminar I went to, and he pointed out that you know, there are always stories about people that are trapped in cars, people that seatbelts kill them, things like that. But what seatbelts do is they keep you from being a projectile in a car and hitting your head against something else. So yeah, there's always stories, but freedom of choice is what we're discussing here.
And we have also separated helmets finally from the seatbelts.
Yeah.
We discussed that this morning at
And
breakfast.
we're talking, yeah, about the seatbelts. You all had discussed with me about how the seatbelts, and go ahead, what were you going to say about seatbelts?
I had asked the same question this morning. You know, what makes the importance of the helmet different than the importance of the seatbelt in the car? And what Carol was so kind to explain to me is that seatbelt is part of the vehicle. And she went further to explain, but what I got from it is that the helmet, being that there's so many different kinds and standards and styles, it's more of an accessory. It's not so much a part of the vehicle. I mean, she's just really well spoken and explained it so well, but it sounded quite right that, you know, I understand a seatbelt, you know, that there's not much of a doubt that it helps in almost every instance. Helmets, you know, it's kind of iffy, and then again, being that it is an accessory, it's not guaranteed to do near as much as often as regularly as a seatbelt will help, I guess. And
there was the argument, I think you all, Carol was talking with me, that it's interesting that this is considered, or people equate it to a seatbelt, but you can't buy a car without a seatbelt. It's mandated that it's part of the car. But you go buy a motorcycle, they don't sell you a motorcycle and say you can't ride off the lot without a helmet.
And that helmet right there that they give
you.
Right.
But we're not gonna give you a helmet. You have to buy one. And if it were part of the safety, you know, you can't buy a motorcycle without turn signals and a headlight. And so if it were a mandated part of safety of a motorcycle, it should be attached to that bike. Here's your bike, here's your helmet, see ya.
Exactly.
But they don't. They say, here's the bike, and if you want a helmet, you can buy one.
In our apparel
but you don't have to.
Apparel.
In our
it's
apparel
over. You can buy some socks. It's really cool socks that say your motorcycle name on it.
With your
and
helmet.
You can buy a jacket, and you can buy a helmet, but you don't have to if you don't want to. But if you drive it off without the helmet, you know, there's a policeman out there that's going to stop you. So, you all are all about safety. Safety is interesting. It's interesting with safety. It's not just about the helmet. There are a lot of people I see out here riding, and again, it's freedom of choice, people riding with flip-flops and shorts. They got a helmet on, but they fall off at 70 miles an hour with a helmet and shorts and a flip-flop. Their head might keep from getting a goose egg on their head or a head injury. But they're going to have some scraped up rest of their body.
Well said.
So it's good to wear some other safety equipment.
It is, but again, it's a personal choice issue. Our state constitution does not allow the state of Tennessee to dictate to me what type, color, jacket, shirt, pants, shoes I'm going to wear. Now, if I have a private employer, yes, as long as I want to maintain employment, he can dictate what I wear. The state of Tennessee, as far as I'm concerned, has no right to tell me what my choice of head covering should be, should I choose to wear anything at all. A cowboy hat, a baseball hat, this helmet, or nothing. I look at it, it's a piece of apparel, just like this jacket. I wear this jacket today because it's cool. It's too cold for me to go just with a shirt, but that's my personal choice. I could have chosen any one of 4 jackets to wear today. I chose this one.
You mean it's cold outside?
It's cold outside.
Because it's not nearly as cool as you think it is.
Yeah.
It is pretty cool.
It is. He's cool.
He's
cool.
cool. He's
but his
very
jacket
No,
is
no, no. Maybe wrong word there. But anyway, I want it to be my choice and remain my choice as how I dress myself. Let me choose how I wish to prepare. Assess the risk and prepare. That's one of my mottos right there in just about everything I do. I look at what is the risk to me, to others, whatever, and prepare for the risk. And if the preparation is just a pair of jeans, pair of boots, long sleeve shirt, sunglasses, I'm fine with that. Or if it's a point where I say, you know, it may storm, it may get wet. Maybe I want to put some light helmet on my head to keep me from getting so wet. I want that choice, just because right now, if I wanted to choose this helmet, that helmet, or that helmet, any of the helmets, it's my choice which one I wear. As long as I wear one in this state, because the state says I have to wear one. They won't tell me which one, but I have to wear this apparel because it's required by state law.
We've got about 4 minutes left. Let me ask you real quickly. It'd be nice if the government didn't get involved in things.
That's right.
But they do.
They do.
And now, once they're involved and they say, Robert, if you get in a wreck and you don't have a helmet on and you get in the hospital, you're going to have a hospital bill. And if you don't have the money for it, everybody else is going to have to pay for it. There are some states that have said, we won't have a helmet law, but you need to insure yourself.
Yes.
What is your all's stand on that?
Well, states like Kentucky, for example, when Kentucky modified the law, when their first bill, they placed mandatory proof of health care coverage on the bill to get it through legislature. They were able to get it through, and a couple of years later, they were able to prove that motorcycle riders cost the taxpayers nothing additional. So they're able to strip the insurance requirement from the law.
Okay.
And we've heard the same argument here. We're called, if you guys are given the freedom of choice, you will become public burdens, burdens to the taxpayer. We've heard that argument here. It's been presented by people from TennCare, and the argument cannot be valid because they can't provide true numbers, true hard data. Motorcycle riders are at least as well insured as any other operators of motor vehicles on the road. Now, we can prove that with facts.
Okay.
And but you know, states have done that to modify their helmet laws, and then when it was proven that there was no need for this additional medical insurance, they were able to drop it.
Okay. And that's the only argument I would see that
Right.
I could say, well, you know, if the state's already interfered and said that if you get, you know, back 100 years ago, you got hurt,
You're on your own.
Your family put you in the back room and there you go. But now you go to the big trauma center and they put you on a ventilator, they take care of you. Somebody's got to pay for it, so be sure you pay for it. And today we already have, truckers have to have so much insurance.
Right.
Men have to have more insurance than women. Sports car riders have a higher rate than somebody that drives a Prius like I do.
Right.
So I could see where they might want to do something like that. But my idea would be people need to be free to do what they want to.
Right.
So we got 2 minutes, he tells us. And
2
I
minutes.
did want to mention, you brought up safety, and our organization and motorcyclists across, Johan mentioned this morning, the catchphrase is safe riding versus safe crashing.
Okay.
And in Tennessee, you can voluntarily take a rider education class.
Okay.
And it'll cost you some money, but you get 20% off on your insurance.
Okay.
And we have had a grant in the past to do safe riding. One of the things we do is a Don't Ride Fried Carnival, which we'd love to have people come and see that. And Johan's great at that, and Dawn's help too, where you wear the impaired riding glasses. And impaired is not just drinking, it's maybe prescription drugs, it may be you're mad at your girlfriend and take that scooter and just blast off not thinking how to ride. So we are very much involved in safe riding versus safe crashing.
Yeah,
Okay.
safe riding trumps safe crashing anytime.
That's great. Y'all really, safety is the name of the game.
Right.
Whether you have a helmet or not a helmet, the idea is you don't want to crash,
Exactly.
regardless.
Exactly.
We want to live
So-
to ride another day and spend our money on chrome
Very
instead of
much.
hospitals.
That's right. Looking forward to when it gets a little warmer and I can be out and riding. And we're going to put up the contact information for you folks so people can get a hold of you, find out more, join the local chapters of your CMT abate and get more involved in riding, get more, learn more about riding and more especially about safe riding.
Right.
So that you can get out and enjoy the weather, enjoy the riding, and know more about people that are involved in riding. Some
And
great people.
we have several Facebook pages all across the state.
Okay.
So we thank you very much for finding us.
Glad you all are here,
Dan,
and
thank you.
Thank you
wish
very much.
wish you luck in your future endeavors with this.
Bill, Dawn, thank both of you.
Thank you for listening.
guys.
Thank you for being part of our audience and Veritas Populi.